G20
Danielle Sutton is a war veteran, a mother of two, and the first black woman to serve as president of the United States. But when we meet her, she's not facing down enemies of the state. She's arguing with her 17-year-old daughter Serena, who snuck out of the White House to party at a Georgetown bar and ended up on the late-night news. The next day, President Sutton delivers a speech outlining her plan to fight global hunger by offering microloans in digital currency to struggling African farmers. She highlights how many in sub-Saharan Africa lack access to banking and rely on hidden cash to buy seeds. Her goal: to rally world leaders at the G20 summit to support the initiative. One reporter even questions how Sutton can protect an entire nation when she can't control her own daughter. With her image on the line, Sutton decides to bring her whole family, husband Derek, daughter Serena, and young son Demetrius, along with her to the G20 summit in Cape Town, South Africa. Joining them are Agent Manny Ruiz, the president's loyal longtime bodyguard, and Joanna Worth, the U.S. Treasury Secretary. But not everyone at the summit is on board. She faces resistance from British Prime Minister Oliver Everett and needs to win over power players like Elena Romano, the new head of the IMF. Meanwhile, in Budapest, a woman named Quol arrives at a church to deliver a crypto wallet. She demands payment on delivery, but the man insists her funds will be released once the blockchain confirms the trades. Sensing a double cross, she attacks him and escapes, only to be pursued down the street. She slips into a bar, removes her coat to blend in, but is ambushed by Rutledge. He injects her with a sedative and steals the wallet. Back at the summit, everything seems normal, as world leaders pose for photos. But behind the scenes, Rutledge's team has already infiltrated hotel security. They've reprogrammed the doors, smuggled weapons inside, disguised as camera equipment, and even posed as room service staff. Suddenly, the hotel's Wi-Fi goes down. A bomb detonates in the CAT team's hotel room. Gas seeps into the ballroom. The doors lock, and the world's most powerful leaders start to choke as security is wiped out. A few moments later, what seems like a rescue team enters the ballroom. But it's another trap. A leader tries to leave and is shot in the head. The attackers separate the politicians from their spouses. Luckily, a handful of nations had their security agents already inside. As the chaos unfolds, Manny tries to escort her and Joanna out. But when Sutton runs back to save the UK Prime Minister, she's nearly caught. But her agent reacts fast, taking out the threat. Sutton, Manny, and a few others manage to flee, but Joanna is captured. With the doors locked and chaos around them, the UK Prime Minister asks what the plan is. Manny mentions a hidden door behind the bar. Just then, Elena Romano suffers a panic attack. Thinking quickly, Sutton throws a fire extinguisher and Manny shoots it, creating a smokescreen. They escape through the hidden exit. Elsewhere in the hotel, Sutton's children are held hostage, until Derek bursts in and saves them just in time. Sutton and Manny argue about how to proceed. Sutton expects Manny to arm her so they can fight their way through, but Manny isn't convinced. It's been years since Sutton handled a weapon. Just then, South Korea's First Lady, Han Min-seo, finds a laundry chute and dives in. The others follow her lead. Back in the ballroom, Rutledge arrives to applause from his crew. When informed that the American president and British Prime Minister have escaped, he sends men to hunt them down. In the kids' room, Serena, Demetrius, and Derek brace for another attack. They push furniture against the door and plan an escape. They eventually slip out to the opposite room using the balcony, leaving a tied bedsheet hanging to mislead their pursuers into thinking they went down to the first floor. As the remaining leaders regroup, Manny suspects an inside job. The attackers clearly knew every emergency plan. Sutton points out that even U.S. Special Forces were wiped out in the first wave. Any backup would be hours away. It's up to them now. Their only hope? The Beast. The president's armored car hidden in the underground garage. But getting to it will be a whole different mission. Rutledge hijacks the internet with a global livestream, announcing to the world that he and his team have taken the G20 leaders hostage. He accuses world powers of planning to rob weaker nations, reset the global monetary system, and manipulate citizens through financial control. He calls for mass rebellion, urging people to pull their money from banks and markets and pour it into crypto, which he claims is the only form of currency governments can't control. If anyone tries to stop him, he threatens to begin executing world leaders on camera. Back in the US, the intelligence community begin facial recognition analysis. They discover Rutledge is Edward Rutledge, a former Australian Special Forces soldier. The revelation shocks them. The FBI already had a file on him. How did he get past the security checks? Derek tries to keep the kids calm. Serena wants to go find her mother, but Derek insists they had already planned for a situation like this. Their number one priority is getting the kids out alive. In the laundry room, the British Prime Minister wants to wait for backup, but Sutton isn't buying it. She reminds them that it's the so-called cavalry who hijacked the summit in the first place. While the Prime Minister stays behind, the other women decide to follow Sutton. Rutledge begins forcing the captured leaders to speak in front of a camera. First up is the South Korean president, who immediately notices something odd about the script. It's a pangram, a sentence that contains every letter of the alphabet. If recorded, it could be used to generate deepfakes of their voices saying anything. When he refuses to comply, Rutledge slices off his ear. The rest fall in line, terrified. The U.S. task force, led by Mosley, is completely blind. All surveillance has been cut. Any military intervention could lead to hostages being killed and might trigger an international incident. They decide to meet with representatives from the other 19 countries to come up with a collective plan. Then, the first deepfake videos drop online. In one, the German chancellor says the new world currency will allow governments to track every move their citizens make, allegedly Sutton's plan. In another, the French prime minister brags about using the digital currency to influence elections and enrich himself. The world watches in horror. Panic spreads. And just as Rutledge planned, cryptocurrency begins to skyrocket while national currencies spiral. Turns out, it was financial warfare. The crypto wallet Rutledge stole from Cole is loaded, and the more panic spreads, the richer he becomes. The laundry room is breached. The group climbs into the ceiling and onto the elevator. But as they descend, the British PM hits his hand, yells in pain, and accidentally alerts the mercenaries below. The mercs go quiet. A trap. Sutton steps into the elevator and is attacked. She's nearly choked out, but Elena Romano, still clinging to the top, uses a torn piece of Sutton's dress to wrap around the mercenary's neck and yank it upward, knocking him out. Sutton uses the opportunity to gun down the mercenary, strangling Danny. Serena and her family are trying to figure out how Rutledge is still broadcasting when the entire hotel network is down. Serena notices the TVs are working and rigs components from the satellite to build a remote uplink. Just as she's about to send a message, two men approach. Demetrius spots one of them, Agent Darden, someone he recognizes from their protective detail. But Derek tells him to stay quiet. Something's off. Derek confronts Darden, accusing him of betrayal. But Darden snaps, saying Sutton betrayed the U.S. first when she chose African farmers over American citizens. As Serena hits send, the device makes a sound, exposing them. Darden searches the room but finds nothing, because the kids are now clinging to the edge of the building. In a hotel kitchen where 5 hostages are being held, Sutton secretly sees the devastating effects of Rutledge's plan on the news. If people keep pulling money from banks, the economy crashes, and Rutledge cashes out big. Sutton doesn't want to leave without saving the hostages. Manny tries to stop her, reminding her she's the president. Sutton refuses to abandon innocent people. They hatch a plan. Manny creates a diversion, flooding the floor and electrifying the water, zapping one of the guards. Sutton charges in, gun blazing, and shoots another in the leg. But when she let him get too close, he attacks. She grabs a frying pan and slams it into his head, knocking him out, or so she thinks. As she unties the hostages, the mercenary revives and aims a gun at her, but Manny leaps in and takes the bullet, saving her life. Outside, chaos erupts globally. Markets tank. Protests begin. The U.S. team receives Serena's message. The president is still alive. And now they know Darden is a traitor. Rutledge sees a news report on TV that the U.S. carrier group is 3 hours away. He's losing control, so he decides it's time to start executing hostages, one by one, to make Sutton surrender. Some of the hostages Sutton saved earlier are revealed to be South African agents who were embedded as kitchen staff. Sutton instructs them to help find her family, and they exchange radios for communication. Rutledge escalates the chaos by shooting the Australian Prime Minister dead. Sutton and her team finally make it to the Beast, her armored vehicle, preparing to escape. But then Derek radios in, Rutledge has captured Sutton's husband, threatening to kill him if Sutton doesn't reveal her location. Sutton asks what Rutledge wants with all this. He tells her plainly, he wants her. Then he spots Sutton's kids on surveillance, giving her an ultimatum, surrender or they die. He lets Derek speak on the walkie-talkie, but Derek yells, "Darden is one of them!" before Darden punches him, and the mercenaries beat him. Hearing this, Sutton breaks down, says she loves their kids, and reveals her location. As she surrenders, the South Korean First Lady hugs her, thanking her for everything before escaping in the Beast with the others. When Manny realizes Sutton isn't with them, he jumps out of the moving vehicle to go after her. At the poolside, Sutton's kids are cornered by Rutledge's men, but just in time, the South African agents she saved earlier show up and rescue them. Agent Darden arrives to pick up Sutton, but Manny ambushes him, kills him, and Sutton is saved again, thanks to the returning Beast, now driven by the UK Prime Minister and others. They came back for her. Serena checks in on radio. She and Dee are safe, but Serena wants to help. Sutton tells them to run, but Serena says she has a keycard reader she used earlier to sneak out to the club and can hack into the system again, but she needs a component that Sutton has to retrieve for her. Elena and the other world leaders agree to help. In a daring move, Elena drives the president's limo toward the gate, with the UK PM riding beside her. The car is riddled with bullets, but it's bulletproof. Rutledge launches a missile at them. It grazes the limo. 3 more missiles are fired, catching up just as they breach the gate, but they make it through. Meanwhile, the South African team arm themselves, and one of them, Lexi, launches a missile that hits Rutledge's launcher. Rutledge realizes it came from inside the compound and sends his men to track them down. With his main weapon disabled, the UK Prime Minister speaks with the US team. They plan a counterattack. A small strike team will sneak in through a back door, while Serena disables security systems within 12 minutes. Sutton and Manny reach the power source of the hotel. Sutton salutes Manny, knowing he might not survive, and leaves him to barricade the area. Manny turns off the lights in the East Wing as Sutton clears the route for Serena to get the part she needs. After getting it, Serena escapes while Sutton is forced into close-quarters combat, shooting multiple enemies until she runs out of ammo and is forced to fight hand-to-hand. At the same time, Serena and the South African agents storm the surveillance room, and Serena begins hacking the system. Sutton manages to choke out her attacker just as the US Navy SEALs approach the G20 building. She calls for Manny to turn the lights back on, and though he's bleeding out, he does it. Serena unlocks the doors, allowing the SEALs into the building, and switches the surveillance feed to her mom's floor. She sees someone sneaking up behind Sutton, and so does Sutton, who takes them out. Dee quips that Serena is lucky her mom only grounded her, and didn't knock her out like that. But things take a dark turn. Rutledge captures Derek and Joanna, tying them up. He forces Sutton to read the pangram, planning to release another fake to destroy her credibility. The Navy breaches the ballroom and neutralizes Rutledge's men, but Rutledge already moved Sutton, Derek, and Joanna to the conference room. The SEALs don't know this, and only the surveillance team can help. Serena offers to guide them herself. Rutledge releases another deepfake of Sutton, which sends the stock market into another spiral and skyrockets his crypto holdings to $150 billion. Sutton tries to deny the video's credibility, but Rutledge says people will believe it, just like they believed the lie that got her elected. He reveals he was in Fallujah, where an American bomb killed his team. Sutton, he claims, pulled a child out of the rubble she helped create and returned home to a hero's welcome. He calls her a fraud and everything she built her presidency on a lie. He then shoots Derek in the arm, and Sutton snaps, attacking him. His crypto wallet falls out during the fight. A chaotic brawl breaks out. Just as Rutledge is about to shoot her, the South Korean First Lady stabs him from behind. Sutton embraces Derek and apologizes, but surprise! Derek wore a bulletproof vest. All that drama for nothing. Then Sutton catches Joanna hiding Rutledge's crypto wallet. Turns out Joanna was the inside mole. She claims Sutton stole the job she worked her whole life for, and that she was forced to sit and watch. Sutton slaps her and says, "I was elected." Rutledge escapes yet again, this time grabbing Serena as a hostage. Dee rushes to tell his mom. Rutledge tries to fly away with Serena in a helicopter. Sutton offers him the crypto wallet in exchange for Serena. As she gets close, she throws the wallet into the air, and Rutledge dives for it. In that moment, Sutton slips into the helicopter, but she doesn't know how to fly it. They end up dangling over the rooftop edge, clinging for life. Rutledge climbs back up and tries to shoot Serena, but Sutton grabs him, and they both fall off the roof, or so it seems. Sutton's actually hanging onto the chopper, and only Rutledge falls to his death. The Navy SEALs and world leaders join hands to pull Sutton and the helicopter up. The world celebrates. Later, the African Farmers Initiative is signed by Elena and the UK Prime Minister. Manny is alive, Joanna is sent to jail, and Sutton's now iconic blood-stained gown is framed for history.